So now the dust has settled. What is next and who is next for Conor Benn? It's going to be very, very interesting to see what develops over the next couple of weeks and months for Conor Benn. What is next after his comfortable at boxing class that he did to Chris Eubank Jr. on Saturday night. But yeah, make sure you go and check out my fight reaction. What an event. Unbelievable spectacle to be lucky enough to go and see both of those fights at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And you know what? One thing Conor Benn needs credit for is just changing up his mentality and mindset. And this is something I want to see Conor Benn take forward into his boxing career, more calculated, more calm and composed. Yes, I do think that rational, emotional can be good at times because it shows the true dog in you. But at times when it comes down to a boxing match, you do need to stay calm and composed. And he did that against Chris Eubank Jr. and comfortably outboxed him, outworked him, and outfought me in the battle over the two fights, in my humble opinion. But what is next for him? I've seen a couple of other people talk about this. Conor Benn is ready to take on Mario Barris in a WBC welterweight world title fight as early as March as next year. Look, there's been a lot of talk about Conor, fighting Maris Barris for the for the title. However, I want to speak about Conor Benn on his weight. I think Conor Benn's going to need a bit more time up until March. If I'm being truly honest, he might need another 6. He might need 6-7 months, in my opinion. You have to think he's just moved up 2 weight divisions to 160. I could understand if Conor was naturally fat and had a bit, just fatness on him, but it's pure muscle. That's going to be hard to naturally drain. I've had that even myself, and I'm not even a boxer. I've done boxing before. Like draining muscle off you is physically hard. It's a hard thing to do. And then not only that, you're coming down 2 weight divisions and you expect him to be fighting for a world title. I personally think the Maris, I do think that, that Maris Barris fight is winnable for him. I thought Maris Barris was quite poor against Manny Pacquiao when he fought him a couple of months ago. There's definitely a couple of titles that Conor Benn, I think, can win in boxing. I don't think personally, in my opinion, if he's going to go down to 147, I would kind of like him to maybe have one tune-up fight before the Marius Barrios fight. Maybe do the Marius Barrios fight in the summer or the back end of next year. Conor Benn is still a young lad. He's still 27, 28. He's still got a lot of time, 7-8 years left in his boxing career. There's no rush with the lad. He's just come back off 2 absolute cracking fights against Chris Eubank Jr. That would have took a bit out of him in the training camps as well. So, in my opinion, I think Conor Benn should be just having maybe one fight at 154 or one fight at 147 before going in with a Maris Barris, although I do think it's a winnable fight. You could also look at the Lewis Crooker fight. Again, I do think that's a fight I do think he can win. But again, I want to see him take his time in boxing. Maybe go with a couple of domestic matchups like your Jack Catteralls. Although I think that could be a real test for him. I think that could be a real test more than a Maris Barris fight. Because I think Jack Catterall's a nice, slick, good boxer. And again, he's knocking on the door to be become world champion. So maybe does he go with that domestic, matchup as well? Does he beat Jack Catterall? That's going to be an interesting conversation. Obviously, he had a really good performance on Saturday night on the undercard at Spurs. And then I'm looking at, the Ronald Rome area. I'm looking at Brian Norman Jr. Does he win those? In my opinion, probably not right now in his career. I know he's called out the likes of Devin Haney. I know he's called out the likes of Ryan Garcia. I think they're really good domestic matchups. Obviously UK versus US, and they'll definitely sell well. Obviously Colin said he wants to do another stadium fight. As he said here, Conor Benn doubles down on a fight with Ryan Garcia after Garcia said he would fight Benn. Your turn, your head's next. We can run it here at stadium. I'm the money man. Come and get me, Conor Benn says. And then Ryan Garcia says, I'm 2 up on Mr. Hearn. Would to make it 3-0 and head to the UK. Always been a dream of mine. Let's run it. So yeah, Ryan Garcia speaking about a fight in the UK. I actually think that would sell. If you do it at the Spurs Stadium, I'm intrigued to see how the Ryan Garcia commercially and fan base would translate to the UK. Um, I'm very intrigued because would the casuals really know who Ryan Garcia is? Maybe I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely going to be probably the Maris Barris fight for Conor Benn because yeah, he did say at the beginning of this year he did want that fight as well. So again, you're looking at the 154, champions. Like there's a few in there that's going to be again a real tough challenge, just like the 147 champions. Like I said, some of the names on the list. I'm very intrigued to see what happens with Conor. But I think for Conor, right now, I would take 6 months in preparation for this because this is something you don't really want to rush. We've seen boxers. I think it's easy. Yes, it's easy to go up two weight divisions, but coming down two weight divisions is obviously harder because you're coming back off two fantastic, great fights with Chris Eubank Jr. Then you're having to get rid of the muscle. On top of that, you're losing your punch resistance, you're losing your punch power on top of a couple of things. Sometimes that can take a bit of a knock on a fighter. So maybe if he does go back down to 147 or 154, which he probably is going to be 147, I would take maybe one or two warm up fights before going in there with a Marius Barris, just to be on safe and sure, because then you can go for the other champions, the other couple of fighters that's in that division. But I'm very intrigued to see what's going to happen next with Conor Benn. I think now it's good to see him. He's got that buzz. You speak about his mental state. The issues he's been through over the past couple of years. We wouldn't know what those issues are. However, I'm very excited to see what this lad can do now in the next 2 years because I feel like he has got potential to become world champion, but I still think he needs a bit of time. That's just my opinion. I'm a Conor Benn fan. I don't want to just jump on the hype train and say, "Oh my god, yeah, Conor Benn's going to become a 147 champion." No, take your time. Do the things I just listed. You know what I'm saying. So yeah, smash the like, subscribe to the boxing channel as well. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, we're going to do a video next. What is next for Chris Eubank Jr.? That video will be coming up very soon on the